Here's the good, the bad, and the ugly from the recent release of the much-awaited Monkey King title. Oh, and some controversy too. Most of you guys already know that this fantastical game is based on the famous Chinese novel from the 16th century, Journey to the West, about the Monkey King Sun Wukong. But did you know that the Journey to the West was also the inspiration to Dragon Ball? Sun Wukong literally translates to Son Goku in Japanese. Now let's quickly run through what's drawing people to this game. Myth Wukong's combat is probably the highlight of this whole game, being both accessible and focus-driven, thanks to a blend of fast reflexes and careful resource management. How successful you are revolves around a focus meter that fills up with hits and perfect dodges. We can then spend these focus points to either enhance our light attack combos or deliver powerful heavy strikes, with the option to spend multiple points for even more powerful attacks. There's also a selection of spells governed by a mana meter, like Immobilize, Cloud Step, and Rock Solid, and a few more which we won't spoil. Transformations are another cool feature, letting us morph into powerful creatures we've defeated. These transformations come with their own moves and don't use mana but have a long cooldown. For example, transforming into a defeated wolf boss gives us his fast dash attack and a powerful leaping strike. Spirit skills earned from tougher enemies add another layer of strategy. They last for one attack and have a cooldown but can be upgraded to stay effective throughout the game. The game's beautiful environments and music and detailed animations make exploration a visual and audio treat. But there are a few worrying elements of the game that we should talk about. Many players have encountered dropping frame rates and crashes, including a particularly frustrating one after defeating a tough boss that required a replay. Crashes also occur during chapter loads or fast travel, which can add up to significant frustration. Cutscenes are another area with problems. Dialogue and subtitles sometimes drop out, leaving players unclear about key story elements. There were also instances where characters switched speaking Chinese despite audio settings being in English, and the English dubbed lip-syncing often didn't match the dialogue. Additionally, many journal entries remained untranslated, which was a bit disappointing for us English players. The devs have immediately tackled this though, so the language issues have since been resolved. This is really good for us because we can see that these devs are active and trying to fix the problems that they hear from the community. BMW also offers a large, diverse world, but lacks an in-game map, making exploration a bit challenging. Without a map, players can't quickly check their locations, find points of interest, or fast travel. The game's optional paths and open-world feel make the absence of a map more noticeable, leading to annoyances as players bump into the invisible walls or resort to guides. This can break immersion and make exploration feel less gratifying. Additionally, the numerous invisible walls not only hinder exploration but also affect boss battles, causing awkward and unnatural movements. These other technical and localization issues are likely to be addressed in future updates, similar to how other games have improved post-launch. Despite these setbacks, Myth is a solid debut for GameScience. The combat is rewarding, offering a balance of resource management and fast-paced action that rivals the challenge of Elden Ring. The boss battles are exciting, and the game's world is both optically impressive and audibly captivating, for the most part. Here's what actual PC players are saying in the first few hours. Myth Wukong is a very fun game. The story, visuals, and music all boast their Chinese origins, and the gameplay is addictive, with a combat system focused on customization and exploration that rewards the player. However, the PC version's performance is abysmal, making this great experience difficult to fully appreciate. Another wrote, Myth Wukong is only a Souls-like in the way that Stellar Blade is, and that's to its credit. It lightly borrows elements from the subgenre, but carves out a niche for itself by focusing on its key differences. Despite some performance issues and frustrating difficulty spikes, Myth Wukong's frenetic combat and emphasis on fluid movement make it feel unlike any of its contemporaries. Myth has made an extraordinary debut on Steam. It has quickly outpaced the concurrent player records set by popular titles like Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, Cyberpunk 2077, and Dota 2. In just a few hours, it became the most played single-player game ever on the platform. Currently, the Monkey King ranks as the second most played game ever in Steam's history, trailing only to PUBG Battlegrounds in peak concurrent players. The game reached a peak of 2.2 million concurrent players, surpassing Cyberpunk's all-time high of just over 1 million and Elden Ring's peak of just under 1 million. The game's popularity is especially significant in China, with Game Discover co-founder Simon Carless noting that an estimated 88% of its Steam players are from the country. However, Black Myth Wukong has not been without controversy. Before its release, GameScience's CEO Feng Ji was criticized for posts that included sexualized and misogynistic language. A female reviewer shared her thoughts on Black Myth Wukong, focusing primarily on gameplay but also addressing the controversies surrounding the game's development studio, particularly reports of misogyny and sexism among the developers. As a woman, she felt particularly aware of the game's shortcomings in terms of inclusion and representation. In her experience with the first 2 chapters, she noted the absence of female or feminine characters, whether as NPCs, enemies, or bosses. The only exception was a boss in Chapter 2 called the Mother of Stones, which is merely a stationary, glowing rock with no abilities, guarded by other enemies. The reviewer felt that this lack of diversity and inclusivity mirrored the misogynistic comments reportedly made by some developers, who allegedly expressed disdain for women playing their games. Despite enjoying some aspects of the game, she said she couldn't shake the feeling that women were not welcome in this world. She also pointed out that Black Myth Wukong is based on Journey to the West, a novel that includes several important female characters. The absence or minimal inclusion of women in a modern adaptation of such a story was troubling to her. While this didn't diminish the excitement of the boss fights, she felt that the female fans of Souls-like games might view this game differently, especially given reports that these developers suggested women aren't capable of enjoying or excelling at these types of games. Some fans understandably felt frustrated about that, saying, "What people do not understand is that the world is not USA. Nobody cares about LGBT wokeism or neo-feminism outside the USA and some European countries. We'll buy the game if it's good, nobody sane cares about the rest." Another said, "It's a game about Wukong. Go watch a Netflix movie if you want that kind of BS, lol." And finally, the PS5 version. Black Myth Wukong is currently one of the best-selling games on the PlayStation Store as of the production of this video, trailing only behind titles like Madden NFL 25 in America and popular free-to-play games like Fortnite and Warzone in the rest of the world. In terms of performance, the PS5 version has exceeded expectations. Although not flawless, it's performing better than the recent titles like Elden Ring or Jedi Survivor at launch. The visuals are impressive, and even in performance mode, where some blurriness is expected, the game still looks good. While the PS5 version is a noticeable downgrade compared to the PC version, it remains visually appealing. Over several hours of gameplay, there were no bugs or glitches. For those concerned about the PS5 version, early impressions are promising. We faced multiple bosses, including the introductory one, without any performance issues, maintaining a steady 60 FPS in performance mode. The game looks and feels like a true PS5 experience, with the challenge ramping up in a satisfying way. The story, despite some mixed reviews, is intriguing and enthralling. Overall, the game shows a lot of potential, and it's off to a strong start, so I do suggest you try it out for yourselves. Don't forget to cross your T's and square your I's.